And now, CCW News presents Holy Crap! This is actually happening! Foreign Exchange Edition, December 2022. I'm Chuck U. Farley. The big news this week is that our dear leader took time off from trafficking migrant children to negotiate the exchange of a warlord with a nickname the Merchant of Death for a drug-addled, American-hating lesbian who ironically makes her living playing with balls. In a press conference at the White House, the capitulator-in-chief announced the exchange, calling WNBA player Brittany Griner's arrest for possessing dealer-sized quantities of THC hash in a Russian airport unjust. Vice President Kamala Harris said, "That's right, no one sentences black Americans to a lifetime of prison labor for having pot except me." Vladimir Putin was thrilled with the exchange, saying, "We were only hoping to steal more American money and guns from Ukraine, but now we can go straight to the source. We are so alike it is almost scary. Thanks, Comrade Biden." While he himself has literally never held a single job, much less one that involved labor outside of catching drips off a waffle cone, vociferously pro-union Joe took full credit for averting a crisis right before the midterms by saying he personally negotiated the terms that prevented a railroad union strike that would have further decimated our supply chains. When things fell apart after the midterms and the strike was still imminent, old Lunchbucket Joe stepped in to help his union pals by signing a bill that made strikes illegal. Former Florida Congressman David Rivera was arrested this week for foreign conspiracy and money laundering. In 2017, Rivera signed a $50 million consulting contract with Venezuela's socialist government to, quote, improve Venezuela's standing with the United States, end quote. In 2020, Venezuelan-owned oil company Citgo sued him for failing to actually do any work. I swear, I am not making this up. A top Venezuelan official stated, seriously, if he couldn't get those sanctions lifted, the least he could have done is provide hookers and blow like that Hunter fella did. Out of fear that people may face a 0.02% chance of dying from their manufactured virus, the Chinese government continues to torture, starve, and even burn alive its people. This has led to uncharacteristic mass protests throughout the nation. Since the CCP does not allow its citizens to speak freely, the only communications application that people had access to was a strictly controlled version of Apple's AirDrop. That is, until Winnie the Pooh demanded that Apple shut it down, and Tim Cook bent over like a soggy Twizzler. When asked what they had to say about Apple bowing to China's censorship and imprisonment policies, diversity hire Jean-Luc Pierre stated, "They're a private company and can do what they want." Ha ha, I'm just kidding. They, like Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube, are completely controlled by us. As for China's censorship, we are very proud of how they took our model and ran with it. After praising the CCP's leadership during the COOF crisis, Canada's Prince Blackface is now praising the protesters in China. "Canadians are watching," he said. "We're going to continue to ensure that China knows we'll stand up for human rights and will stand with people who are expressing themselves. Except here in Canada, where if you even so much as try that nonsense, I'll arrest you, freeze your bank accounts, and take away your kids." Coming full circle, global news organizations are blasting their concerns for Russian President Vladimir Putin's health after he fell down his stairs, landed on his Cossacks, and then soiled himself. I swear, I am not making this up. Russian judges gave him a 9.8, 9.4, 9.7, and 9.6 for pulling off a near-perfect Biden maneuver. For CCW News, this has been Holy Crap! This is actually happening. I'm Chuck U. Farley. Good night, and may God help us.